to my podcast about sports, about sports, about sports.
Howdy, Ags. Welcome to the Tailgate, home of Aggie football. Corey, what's up, Holmes?
What's up, bro?
Hey, real quick, today's episode brought to you by Providence Financial Coaching. Call Steve Gay, certified financial counselor at 863-732-6224. Integrity, accountability, resourcefulness, and financial coaching. Visit their website at providencefinancialcoaching.com. Over 20 years of experience. Aggie owned and operated. Gotta love it. Email us at agstailgate@gmail.com. Get on the YouTube. Subscribe. You get me 5 new subscribers. Give me proof of it, man. I'll send you a koozie. What? Koozie. I know. Huge. Couple of comments. Parr asks that we stop crushing on the Pac-12. Corey, I don't know what your thoughts are on that. I'm not going to deny my Pac-12 crush right now. Their football has been exceptional. This weekend in the Pac-12, huge matchups. We'll talk about some of them a little bit later.
That's the only conference we won money on so far. What are you talking about?
Amen. Cody Scherer says, since most of us agree that Durkin should have been fired, what do we think about the learning curve and adjustments if we wanted to make a change to Elijah? Could they get that taken care of pretty quickly with defensive play calling? Thoughts there, Corey?
Not a lot right this second. Sorry, I've got other stuff going on.
Let me just say this. One of my years in coaching over at Willow Ridge, we were first year there in Willow Ridge, and I don't think they'd won a game, but one game maybe the previous 2 years before we got there. And, we got started off, and offensively, I was the co-offensive coordinator, offensive line coach. We got started off offensively, and we had a bunch of stuff going on. A couple of games in, we couldn't score. We decided to come in together as a staff. We adjusted. We simplified what we were doing, and started to get going. And then week to week, we added a couple of little wrinkles. It wasn't a lot. We stayed with our core and just added some wrinkles, right? And by the end of the season, we were pretty darn good. We ended up making the playoffs that year. I think, Corey, you came out and watched this, didn't you?
I saw y'all right. I think it was a playoff game.
Yeah.
I don't think y'all won that one. Y'all didn't win that one.
All that to say that I think it's possible, right? Simplify the defense. They've already got a 4-man front call. Put it in there. Get aggressive. Throw some blitzes in there. Let them play. Lots of speed. Let them play. All right, Corey. I love this right now. I love this. Football is now official. This is our opening week of SEC football, 11 a.m. start, kickoff against Auburn at Kyle Field, home SEC opener, man, SEC opener for the Aggies, huge slate of games in conference, man. This is what it's about. This is what it's all about. We will find out more about A&M this week in conference than we have in the previous 3 weeks. I love it.
What do you say that we're going to find out more about A&M than what we found out against Miami?
Buddy,
Miami, why? Tell me why.
If you struggle against Auburn, you're going to know that you're going to end up last or next to last in the SEC West. Period. You struggle against Auburn, you can chalk it up 5-7.
All right, so let's say we go out there and beat Auburn, I don't know, 38-14. What are you saying? Are you back? Oh shit, we're going to win it all. We just got our ass kicked by Miami. We didn't think Auburn's going to be that good this year anyway.
No, I mean, absolutely not, right? We win 38-17 or whatever. I mean, pretty good win. We know that at the very least we can compete in these games. At least we can say, I think we've got a chance as we play through the SEC, right? Especially the West, where so far nobody's really, sort of separated themselves. I mean, LSU had a really good showing last week against Mississippi State, but I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that Mississippi State is pretty bad. And I think we talked about it at the beginning of the year. The loss of the Pirate has affected those guys in a big way. And so, when you look at it, if you can win this game comfortably, you can at least say we can compete, right? Maybe we lose to LSU. Maybe we lose to Ole Miss. Maybe we lose to Bama. But you still expect to have a number of wins in the SEC. You're talking more along the 8-9 win plateau than you are about the 5 and 6 win plateau. Because if you lose to Auburn, I'm not sure you get to 5.
I'm not sure you win any more games at all this year if you lose to Auburn at home. This might be the worst SEC team we play this year. When we did our rankings earlier this year when we weren't doing a pod, I'm pretty sure we had Auburn as one of the worst teams in the SEC, just talent-wise, new coach coming in. Yeah, Hugh Freeze is a good coach, but we don't know what the talent's like there. Now we watched Mississippi State get their ass kicked by LSU, and everybody's like, "Oh, Mississippi State might be the worst team." I don't know. Alabama's playing like crap.
Those two teams are in competition for that title, by the way.
Well, A&M might be there with them if they play like shit this weekend.
Correct.
See what I'm saying?
And
Alabama's trying to throw their tail in there after last week. Alabama's trying to get down there.
Bama's going to go back to Milroe, and they're not going to look. By no means am I saying Bama's going to go win out the rest of this year, but I'm going to tell you what, that team's going to end up the year, and they're going to be a 9-10 win team.
Oh, is that good enough? 9-10 win team?
Hey, probably not for Saban. Probably not for Saban. But if you get on Texags and listen to those cats, you get 9-10 wins, man. You should be throwing a parade. So
you listen to those dumbasses at Texags. They talk about 3-man lines like it's the best thing they've ever seen. They were talking about that today. Oh man,
yeah. They'll sell you anything that Jimbo and his staff and his players are trying to sell to them, right?
I cannot believe they were defending the 3-man line.
They're like, going to toe the company line, buddy. The only one over there, look, Nuno, idiot. Forget about it. Wow. Billy, idiot. Doesn't know crap about football. All he does is repeat what they tell him inside the building. OB's the only guy over there. OB's the only guy over there that'll tell you somewhat straight and get off the company line from time to time.
I've been liking what Louie's saying. Louie's been on board about getting rid of Durkin like he never should have been here. The 3-man line is ridiculous. And we've been saying that since last year. That's why I just get tired of talking about it. But when I hear other idiots come on there and defend it, that's even worse. It's one thing to go see it, but then you hear these guys defend it. How do you defend it like that? I mean, it gives you different options. I mean, yeah, it gives you the option to not get in the other team's backfield. Yeah. We don't play on the other side of the line of scrimmage.
It gives you the option to be bad against the run and not put any pressure on a quarterback. That's right.
Exactly.
All right, so let's talk about this Auburn game. Auburn comes in 3-0. They've got a win over Cal, 14-10. Cal sort of gave that game away. Auburn should have lost to Cal. If you go back and watch that game, there was 3 field goals missed. There was another possession inside the red zone at the end of the game that they could have scored points on. Obviously, they were trying to score a touchdown at that time. And there was a defensive touchdown that was brought back by bad officiating. So, overall, Cal should have won that game. The Auburn offense was horrendous. And so let's start there. Let's start there because that's Hugh Freeze, right? Hugh Freeze is a guy that's going to come in. He wants to score some points. And that's what they brought him in there to do, to get that offense to start humming. Now, he doesn't have the players yet. I watched those guys. They don't have the weapons around the quarterback to really make that much of a difference. The offensive line looked okay, but the competition has been poor, right? So the offensive line has looked okay against bad competition. Overall, I thought the quarterback play has been pretty bad. Corey, what do you think?
Well, I think overall they beat 3 teams. 2 of them, UMass, basically a D2 team. Who was the other one they beat? Samford, not Stanford, Samford.
Yep.
They are a very small school, and they beat Cal, who's probably the second worst team in the Pac-12 behind a terrible Stanford team who just lost to Sacramento State.
Do that.
So, they're averaging, what did you say, 39.8 points a game and giving up 13. Well, you haven't played anybody. That's going to happen. Look what A&M did against New Mexico and ULM. We averaged 50 points a game and gave up 6.
It's like the numbers right now for A&M's defense, right? They've only allowed this. Well,
yeah.
ULM and New Mexico, buddy. Sure. Yeah, that skews your numbers, right?
But you play somebody with talent like Miami, and they burnt us. I mean, they absolutely burnt us. They did whatever they wanted to do in the
whatever they wanted to do.
and Van Dyne just sat back there, didn't get hardly touched the whole game. I think we were afraid to hit him. Like, don't hurt him. No. And that's what annoys me. I mean, we weren't putting any pressure. 3-man lines, 4-man. Bring some pressure, bring some heat. Let these guys play.
Yeah,
Tired
look,
of it.
this and
Tired.
here's something I picked up on this Auburn on this Auburn team. I really do. I think, Hugh Freeze at the beginning of the year, he said, "No, I'm not calling the plays. I'm turning this thing over." He's pulling a Jimbo, right? He's turning this thing over to Phil Montgomery, a guy that's from the Art Briles tree, right? That came in as the offensive coordinator. And he sort of did that. They go play Cal and they score 14 points. They don't even look good at scoring 14 points. And you go watch him against Samford, and I think he started to come back into that offensive room, and he's starting to have a little bit bigger influence. And why do I say that? You saw a lot more of the misdirection. You saw a lot more of the motions and the different things that he likes to do to try to put defenses in a bad position, right? And I'll tell you, those things that we're just talking about, those are the things that give Durkin and his defenses problems, amongst others.
How about to say, what do you the other team lining up gives Durkin a problem. What are you talking about? Oh shit. They lined up. Oh, fuck, they're about to snap it. I'm just saying, no. If I was you Freeze, this is what I would do as an offensive coordinator. I'd put in my athletic quarterback, Ashford. Even Thorne's kind of athletic.
Corey, both of them are pretty athletic. Thorne's a pretty decent athlete. Neither one of
But
them.
I know what I've seen in Ashford last year. I watched him play a few games. He's got wheels. I would run the ball. I would love to see the Aggies line up in a 3-man front, and I would just run the ball all day. I'd do exactly what App State did last year. I'd make us get out of that 3-man front, and if we're gonna get 3 yards of play, 4 yards of play, so be it. We're gonna get 3 or 4 yards. We're gonna ugly up the game because we don't have the talent y'all have at Auburn right now. We're gonna do things, make it ugly, and that's what you have to be right now. You Freeze has to be that way.
Look, 100%, right? And just like that, right? And I'd have every play, motion, shifts, misdirection. They're gonna use the RPO, the quick screen game. They're gonna do the reads and different things, making each one of those players on that defense think at all times, right? And what do you do when you're thinking? Well, you ain't running. I promise you, right? And that's exactly what they're gonna do. They're gonna show so many different things in the formations, in the motions, in the misdirections, and that defense is going to be sitting there wondering what the heck is going on, because they're going to be cluttered in the mind, man. And I'm going to tell you, it's likely to lead to a big running performance for Auburn.
Yeah, I could see their quarterback running for quite a bit, either one of them.
Yeah, look, Thorne and Ashford can both run the football, right? They're both decent athletes. Neither one of them is a great thrower. Thorne is an interception waiting to happen if you can get pressure on him. But once again, we don't put pressure on him. So if you let him sit back there and just survey, he will beat you. He will beat you.
That's going to happen. That is going to happen because we're not going to put pressure on him. We're going to run a 3-man line with 3-man pressure. We're going to have 5 defensive linemen trying to cover wide receivers. So, I mean, it's just going to be awful.
The one, I guess, saving grace in this matchup is the fact that they don't have the big-time athletes on the outside, the big-time weapons on the outside to really just dominate you, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. They got some players, and the running backs, Alston and Cobb, good players. You get them some room to run, and they're going to make some plays on you. And those are the guys that I'm worried about. At wide receiver, the guy that they target the most is a smaller, quick guy, Jay Fair. Like, he's one of those guys that are going to get the ball too quick in space, screen, let him go get some yards, right? And so they use the tight end some. They like to formation the tight end, get them in and find them in places by a little bit of trickeration and different things. And then they got the big wide receiver that's, less involved, but more of a deep threat from time to time. They struggle with that because their quarterback play is not great, right? So they don't throw it down the field a ton, but they hit you with different formations and different things and different looks that's going to cause a problem.
Right.
So Corey, let me ask you this, and I know we've already kind of hinted around it, but what's the expectations for this defense? What do you expect to see from them?
Not much different what we saw in the Miami ULM. Probably going to see way too much 3-man line. We're not going to see a whole lot of pressure on the quarterback like we want to, because they're going to do that 3-man line. It's going to be a bend and don't break type of defense for us. It's going to be very frustrating to watch. And at the end of the day, I mean, I think we'll win this game, but I think we'll still give up a good chunk of yardage. And I think Auburn will probably score anywhere from 18 to 24 points.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, man, I have a hard time with this defense, man, right now. I really do. I do expect, just like you said, for them to be passive as they have all year. Just passive, passive, right? And because of it, I expect that that offense is going to create problems, because we're gonna lose guys in the misdirection. We're gonna lose the ball in the misdirection, right? Our linebackers are gonna be all over the place. They're gonna be separated. It's gonna create seams in the run game, and I think that's where we get hurt. And then the other thing that concerns me here is that on top of the fact that we're passive, our secondary against good players has not shown that they can cover. They can't cover, right? All you got to do is get one of your wide receivers matched up on Damani Richardson, and then you can do whatever the heck you want to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Those are the guys at Texas said we're going to have 2 interceptions this week.
Yeah, not going to happen.
Hey, is anybody out this week, defensive wise? Have you heard anything?
Jimbo said everybody.
I didn't know if
Jimbo said everybody's back.
He did. Gilbert's back too.
I think so.
Okay.
So what players need to stand out here? Players for this defense.
Man, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what Auburn's going to throw at us. I mean, if I'm Freeze, like I said, if I'm doing what I said I was going to do, I would expect our defensive line to get pressure, but we're not going to, because we haven't done it all year. I would expect our linebackers to be crashing in to stop, and put pressure. That's not going to happen because it hasn't happened all year. And I would expect our secondary.
But is that the group that would need to do it? If this defense is to be successful, who is it? The linebackers have to come and play?
I think everybody, but I think the D-line. I think we need to do more than just a 3-man front. I think we need to get pressure. We need to play on the other side of the line of scrimmage. That's what I keep saying. We're letting the other teams dictate to us. We're letting them do whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
They need to be more worried about us, and they're not. Teams aren't coming in to A&M worried about our defense. They're like, we can do whatever we want to.
To me, this week with this offense, the guys in the middle, and the reason I say that,
talking about like McKinley Jackson and Nolan.
Well, all the way up the field, because the linebackers, right? All those motions and things, those linebackers are going to have to adjust. The misdirection, those linebackers have to be the guys. The safeties with the motions and different things have to be the ones moving and communicating. That's where we always get messed up. That group, linebackers, safety, are going to have a good game for this team, for this defense to be successful. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but that's the group that has to play.
All right. So who's your defensive player?
Let's go to the other side of the
best
ball.
On defense?
Huh?
Who do you think's going to be your defensive player of the game?
I mean,
the difference maker.
I mean, if I had to put my money on it, I'd go McKinley Jackson, right?
Okay.
If he can get,
I was thinking Edge Cooper, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who do I actually think is going to be the defensive player game? Because I don't think that the linebackers and the safeties are going to have the big game that's necessary out of with the way he's going to call the game, right? He's going to have guys like Overton and Diggs and White in the in coverage, and he's not going to bring pressure, and that the linebackers and the safeties aren't going to adjust as well as we should be to all the different things that we're going to see out of that offense. And ultimately, the guys that are going to help us up front are the guys that are going to make the plays, and that's McKinley Jackson. It's got to be Shamar Turner. it's got to be Nolan, right? Those are the three best players on this defense when it gets all said and done. So McKinley Jackson, defensive player of the game, calling it.
Gotcha.
Let's go to the other side of the field, right? And let's talk about this Aggie offense. Look, I think this is a matchup for – this is a tough matchup for Petrino and this Aggie offense, I think. And let me tell you why. I actually believe that this Auburn defense is not as good as the Auburn defenses a couple of years ago. You remember when they had all these defensive linemen that just were going to go pro? These guys, I mean, they always had those guys that were just going to blow shit up, right?
Okay.
And they don't have that guy on this defensive line. They're okay. They've got some size in the middle. They hold up. They're sound, but they don't have a game breaker, right? Overall, the entire defense, I mean, probably there's a couple of guys in the secondary, it's kind of their best players, a couple of guys in linebacker, and some of those guys may not play. Actually, they got some injuries at linebacker. Those guys are good athletes, that kind of thing, right? They're not great athletes. They don't have the great corner that they've had in the past that just shuts things down. It's not that level of Auburn defense that we're talking about. But here's the problem. And Corey, mark my words. The way they play, and they're based out of 4-2-5, right? Similar to,
okay.
I guess, Durkin. Smirkin Durkin's more of a 3-3 guy now. So, but
like
they base out of 4-2-5. First down and second down, those guys, those guys are going to play it safe. What do I mean by that? They're going to let their four-man line rush. They're going to sit their safeties deep behind it. They're not going to give up the big play. They may do a little stun on the defensive line or bring one linebacker and drop a defensive lineman out of there. But they're not going to bring like five-man pressure. They're going to play sound. They're going to try to force you to just stay in front and make you go down the field. Multiple plays. A drive has to be 8-10 plays to go score, right? That's what they're going to try to do. On third down, they come in and now they bring in some of those blitzes, right? But they still don't bring like six-man pressure. They might bring five-man pressure with some zone aspect to it or something like that. They might bring just four-man pressure, but bring them off from one side and drop guys off the other, right? But they're still going to have at least one safety deep because what's their rule? The rule is we don't give it all up at once, right? They don't allow big plays. They're going to do everything they possibly can to keep you in front and make you march down the field over and over again. Why is that a problem?
Yeah.
Why is that a problem, Corey? I'm asking you.
No, I'm going to ask you a question. You're basing this information off of 3 games when they played 3 pretty bad opponents, right?
Yep.
So if any of these opponents, did they have the capability to go downfield? I don't know if they did. I don't know if these opponents could run the ball. And we run the ball against this team
on the opponent, right? I'm not basing this on the opponent. I'm basing it on what that defensive coordinator was calling and the way he was approaching the game, right? And that's the philosophy that they have. That's what that defensive guys, that defensive coordinator's philosophy is, right? He wants to force you to go.
So can we run the ball against this defense?
Long drives, huh?
Can we run the ball against this defense?
Well, and so where was I going? That's exactly where I was going. Do you have confidence that this offensive line is going to hold up and allow you to run the football against this defense and force them to get out of their comfort zone? Because I don't. I don't have confidence that they're going to do that.
Who are we starting at right tackle anyway? I was curious about that. You heard anything? Is it Basantas? Is it Crownover?
If Basantas is healthy, which they said, he should be, he's probably going to start.
Okay. I didn't know if he was in the doghouse.
No. Basantas?
Fathery, is he just third string now?
Fathery may be in the doghouse, but Basantas is not. He's their pet project. So that's my concern, Corey. And you see where I'm going with that, right? I think for best case scenario against this defense is that you are able to pound the rock because they're sitting 2 safeties deep. You force them out of that, and then you go do what Petrino likes to do, which is get the ball down the field, right? But you have to force them to get out of their comfort zone.
Well, I don't think you have to force it down the field. I think we have enough of those quick receivers like Anais, Moose, even Stewart, run across the middle of the field, make those short little passes, 5-yard, 3-yard passes into big plays because they have that kind of talent. There's plenty of ways. I mean, we're still going to throw the ball because that's our strength of our team.
Agreed.
But and if
But
this
here's
Auburn team, from what I've heard about this Auburn defensive line, they don't put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. If they don't put pressure on Connor, I don't care how deep your safeties are. Our guys are going to get behind them.
yeah,
We're going
they
to
don't
open
put a
that
lot of
field
pressure
up.
on the quarterback. But you know what? We could probably say that about other teams we faced, and against us, they get pressure. Connor's been pressured every game. He's been pressured every game this season.
Well, he'll feel pressure every game this season. That's just what they do. They like that. He works well under pressure.
Sure,
that's what they're doing. They're pushing him. They're trying to make him better. That's what Jimbo's philosophy is.
By design, huh? It's by design.
Yeah, you get better.
Let me say this, and here's my thing, and another thing that I worry about is look at this offense so far this season. When they've been forced to sort of march slowly, they settle for field goals a lot. A lot.
They're not patient. They're not patient.
Because once they get into tight areas, and this is where Auburn, that's where they're going to make their money, right? When they put you down into the red zone where it's tight areas, and they're going to keep 8 guys and 7 and 8 guys in coverage, they're going to make it tough on you when you don't have space, and that's where we have had to settle for field goals the first 3 games of the season, right? So that's what concerns me. Can this offensive line come together to the point where they can run the football enough to give you a chance to make plays on the outside? I think we're going to make plays on the outside because our receivers are that good. Jade Walker's a stud. Anais is a stud.
Ooh, there's a name you just do it. Jade Walker. You just do Walker out there.
Hey, buddy.
You have names like Moose, Stewart, Anais, Thomas. But
they don't even throw out there as a
stud. You throw out Walker.
The ball to Moose.
I love it.
They don't throw the ball to Moose. Evan Stewart. All
right. Based on what you said, I got 2 guys that I'm keen on to have big games, and neither one of them are the names you just said.
Okay.
I'm expecting either Reuben Owens to have a big game running the ball, or Jake Johnson catching the ball over the middle. That's my 2 big ones. And if Jake Johnson's doing it, then I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna be running the ball well. Jake Johnson's in there a lot.
All right, so another good point. The tight end that they like on the field doesn't really block, so let's go with that. Man, we are not in rhythm today, buddy. We are not in rhythm today.
What are you talking about?
I completely disagree. I think Jake Johnson's is gonna disappear in this game. Actually, I don't expect him to have more than 2 catches for 10 yards.
He'll probably score his first touchdown tomorrow or Saturday.
Maybe it'd be the first time they use size in the red zone. Look, I think
that's how you beat this kind of team. If you're saying they're going to put 8 guys back there, you put your quick guys, get them downfield, open up the middle. You got Jake right there, and Reuben Owens catching little swing passes. They're going to have big games. You put a linebacker on Reuben Owens, he's going to eat them up all day.
I'll tell you who I'm going to go with, and this is like easy money right here, right? This is taking.
Don't tell me Stewart.
Evan Stewart's going to have a big game. You know why? You know why?
Because he's Evan Stewart.
Because Connor loves to throw it to Evan Stewart.
He does.
Those 2 dudes are best buds, man. He loves to throw it to Evan Stewart. So why would I go against that? Every time Evan Stewart's on the field, Connor tries to throw him the football. He doesn't care what the hell the play's called. He wants to throw it to Evan. So who's going to have a big game, Corey? Evan freaking Stewart.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And we're going to continue to see Connor. We're going to continue to see Connor play well. Continue to see him, because that dude has been really and truly the heart and soul of this offense in the way that he has handled the fact that the offensive line has been pretty poor. Okay?
As long as the offensive line plays well, the offensive line is going to be the key to the game. I don't care what you say about the wide receivers, running backs, tight ends, quarterback. If our line doesn't play better, it's a long game.
Well, that's my point. The fact is the offensive line is going to play like they have the rest of the season. So just keep that in mind. And with that in mind, what's your prediction? Let me give you the spread and the over-under. A&M right now is favored by 7.5 with an over-under of 50.5. What do you think? What's your prediction?
Well, I said that Auburn's probably going to score anywhere from 18 to 24. I think the Aggies will be in the 30s, maybe 35, 36, 36, 23. Let's go 36, 23.
Man, we are on different pages today. I see this being a field goal game. Lots and lots of field goals.
That's great.
I just right now I really don't have any confidence in Smirkin Durkin. He's going to be on the sideline with his little and he's gonna be sitting back there without bringing any pressure. He's gonna let those quarterbacks kind of sit back. Ultimately, I don't know that Auburn's got they don't have the weapons to hurt you that much, but they are going to get some plays where they sit in there and just they catch seams, and then eventually that's going to lead to field goals. And I think offensively, we're going to have to march the field, and I think that's going to lead to field goals. I think the under. I think A&M wins.
What's the score?
I think A&M wins, and I think it's sort of in the 24, maybe 27 to 18.
Okay, well, I mean, you're wrong. There's nothing wrong with you being wrong. It happens a lot.
It wouldn't be the first time. That's for sure.
So, I mean, that's still a cover by the Aggies, which
still a cover.
My thing is, if we have a problem with Auburn Saturday, I didn't cash the whole season in when we lost to Miami, but if we have a problem with Auburn, if we lose to Auburn, I'm cashing the season in. I'll tell you that right now.
If we lose to Auburn, they ought to fire Jimbo before they freaking get back into the locker room.
Seriously, I mean that'll be embarrassing.
Listen, the fact that they lost to Auburn last year with Cadillac Williams as their freaking head coach, and that roster absolutely given up on the season. Their head coach had been fired. It was a depleted roster with no talent, and they came and beat us last year. That should have been the freaking what's the needle that broke the camel's back or whatever the hell the saying is, right? Like
whatever.
That should have been it. If they do it this year, I expect that train gets a lot more steam.
Yeah.
You got a lot of good insight here, buddy. The people need to be paying attention right now because here it is, the delivery man's moment around college football. This is the best weekend of the season so far. There's awesome matchups. There's some freaking conference matchups. This is awesome. Let's start right into the SEC, buddy. Ole Miss at Bama. Bama's 6.5-point favorite, 55.5 points as the over-under.
Dude, they got Milroe coming back to quarterback, right?
They do.
I think Saban's going to figure it out. Give me Bama. Everybody's on the Ole Miss wagon. Those guys in Vegas know something. My buddy, the chicken man, he likes Ole Miss by 2 touchdowns. I was like, I'm doing Bama.
Yeah, I think it's Bama, but this game might be right at 6 points. It could be 6, it could be 8, but I see it right in there. I'd probably lean Bama at home in this situation, by the way, with Milroe back at quarterback. They've got a lot more opportunities to sort of handle things there. And here's the other thing. I fully expect, and I think you agree with this, I fully expect Lane Kiffin to basically pass on field goals and just turn the ball over on downs on multiple occasions.
Exactly. Short fields. See that happen a lot.
Here's another big one in the SEC. Arkansas at LSU, 17.5-point favorites for LSU. 55 is the over-under.
Easy over. I'm taking the over all day in this game. I watched LSU last week, moving the ball up and down the field. Arkansas, I think KJ Jefferson will be able to move the ball. Probably be a lot of turnovers, so short fields, take the over.
Yeah, I like that. I like the over. I'll tell you what, I'm leaning towards Arkansas to cover. I think LSU wins this game, but I think Arkansas covers. I think they're going to come in there and try to run the football and try to slow, get that offense going that way. I think KJ Jefferson has a decent game out there. And I think they cover.
Okay. I
Ohio,
don't like that, but I
this
hear.
could be the game of the week right here. Ohio State at Notre Dame. Ohio State's favored by 3, and it's a 55.5 over under.
Man, I have not liked what I've watched from Ohio State this year. I mean, I watched them against Western Kentucky and another team that gave you short fields. Western Kentucky didn't, they went for it on 4th down like every time, except in the second half. The first half, short fields. Ohio State, Western Kentucky didn't have the athletes. Notre Dame does. And Notre Dame's got a running game. They're going to punch you in the mouth with those big running backs. I like Notre Dame. Give me the 3.5 points, whatever it is. The over under. Notre Dame scoring points. That Hartman he's a big difference at quarterback. He has those big tight ends he likes to throw the ball to, big receivers. Might be a shootout. I'm not sure. So probably the over in Notre Dame.
I'd lean on the over, but I love the Notre Dame take, right?
Yeah,
I think I really do believe, just like you said, I mean, I think the running game in this game is going to be big for Notre Dame. I think they have the offensive line, the tailbacks that are going to put some pressure on this Ohio State defense, and then Hartman's is going to burn them, right? And to me, look, Ohio State played their best game of the year last year. There's no question about that. But the step up in competition coming this week is, extraordinary.
Right.
Notre Dame, book it.
Yep.
FSU at Clemson. Clemson's a dog at home. Home dog. Plus
this
2.
is pretty scary after watching Florida State play last week.
Yeah, that's an interesting. Florida State had that game under control. Their quarterback got hurt a little bit, and then they ended up getting close at the end. Boston College did. I think Florida State's more the team that started that game than it is the team that finished that game.
Yeah.
But going into Clemson in a rivalry game to go beat Clemson, who's looked a little better each week, man, that's a tough one.
I'd take Florida State. I don't know if Clemson's offense can keep up with that quarterback for Clemson. Their receivers, man, they dropped a lot of passes against Duke. They made that Duke defense look a lot better than what it was. They got that Shipley kid's good. Their running game's not bad at Clemson, but I think Florida State and that tall receiver. And I can't remember the other receiver's name that went off against LSU. I haven't seen much of him. Who?
Wilson and Coleman.
Coleman. Is Coleman a tall one, or is Wilson's
the tall one that's been there. Coleman's the transfer that came in. They're both. Coleman's still tall. He's a kind of a 6'3" type guy, but Wilson's like the 6'7" kid.
Yeah, but that Coleman kid, I haven't seen much. I didn't see much out of him against Boston College. I saw a lot of Wilson. But yeah, I mean, even after that Boston College game, I'd take Florida State.
Yeah, you know what? I agree with you too. And part of that is not only that side of the things. I do think that Florida State is the more talented team this right now. But on top of that, Clemson doesn't have that same level of athlete that they had a few years back, right? Especially at some of the critical positions, like the defensive line is not as good as it was a few years back. The wide receivers, they don't have those type of weapons anymore. And I don't know what's going on there, but that team has sort of taken a step back. I would go FSU.
Yeah, me too.
How about Oklahoma at Cincinnati? Plus 14.5 for Cincy. 57.5 is the over-under. David Coffin's going to be there. David Coffin, big time Sooner, huge Sooner. The dude's my boy. He says Oklahoma is showing up in Cincy to go show out.
Give me the over. I like the over in that. Oklahoma, their offense has been just humming up and down the field, and Cincinnati's gonna score some points too with Emory Jones, the old Florida quarterback. They lost last week, but they should get back on track this week.
Oklahoma all day. How about that?
Yeah, I like the over. Give me the over.
I'll give the points. Here's a good one. I bet you like. I think you're going to like the over in this one. Colorado, Oregon. Oregon's minus 21. Is the over under 70?
Yeah. This is going to be a lot of points on the Oregon side. Colorado's missing their best player, right? Hunter's out. I mean, would you watch that game against Colorado State? They went up and down the field, both teams. There's no defense. I mean, talking shootout. I don't know about the 21. That's pretty scary, but the 70 points, I feel more confident them going over 70. I feel a lot of overs this week. I don't like that, man. I'm gonna lose a lot of money.
Yeah, I think Oregon's going to cover that 21, buddy. I think Colorado has been playing a lot of competition that's, not very good. I look, and I love Deion Sanders. I said it last podcast. I think the dude's legit, man. He's going to be a great influence on that team. I just think that they're about to face probably one of the best teams in the country out there at Oregon. One of the better teams in the Pac-12 for sure. And this is going to be sort of the welcome to the Pac-12 sort of situation. Welcome and goodbye, by the way, because welcome Deion, but then goodbye Colorado because you guys are leaving. So is Oregon.
Yeah, they're all leaving.
Oregon State, Washington State, another great matchup out in the Pac-12. Oregon State is favored by 358.5 is the over-under. What do you think?
I hate going with all these favorites, but I'd probably take Oregon State. I've watched them play. I like their offensive line, their running game, their ukulele looks pretty good over there. I think it'll be a lot. This game, I like the under in 58.5 is what I'm seeing. So, but I think Oregon State's going to try to control the ball.
I'm going the other way on this one. I think Washington State wins this game, and they're at home. Look, they're at home. They're at home. They've had better competition in the folks that they played up to this point. They've got a good win over Wisconsin. Right? I mean, right. And Wisconsin's not like world beater by any means, but that's a good win, right? It's a good win.
Right.
But I expect this to be a game. Like last possession, back and forth, go in there, fight and game. That kind of game. And I'm excited to watch it. But I'd go watch the State. UCLA, right. Utah, another Pac-12. The crush on the Pac-12, here it is. UCLA and Utah. Utah's -6, 52.5 over under. Utah at home.
Who's playing quarterback for Utah?
Best question you've asked all day.
Ever asked? Thanks, dickhead.
Not ever. You've had better ones than that.
Give me UCLA. Give me UCLA. And probably, it depends on, I don't know about the over-under on this one because it depends on who's playing quarterback for Utah. If Rising's playing, I'll take Utah. If he's not, I'm taking UCLA.
Yeah, I'm taking UCLA whether or not Cam Rising's playing. The reason being is not because I don't like Cam Rising. I think Cam Rising is that kind of difference maker for Utah, but it's going to be his first game this year, right? He's going to have to kind of get going a little bit. And he's a big-time difference maker for that team. Because he's one of those guys that will put an offense on his back, right? He will carry those dudes if he has to.
Right.
But this is going to be his first action all season. So I don't think he comes in and just absolutely kills it, but maybe I'm wrong. I'd go to UCLA. Iowa and Penn State, another great matchup. We're going to the Big Ten, though. Penn State's -15. -15. Over under at 40. Probably the under.
Yeah, if you go under in this, don't you think that you take Iowa? 40 points. That's what I would lean. I'd lean Iowa and at Penn State, they just don't beat teams like you think they should. They don't blow them out. There's you see Ohio State beat a team 70-3 or 66-13. But Penn State, they come out 38-24.
I'll say this. I think Penn State has been the team in the Big Ten that has looked the best over the first 3 weeks. But their competition, I'm not sure is all that tough. So
they beat West Virginia.
They've gotten a ton of hype. I think people are really, really loving them. I think the 15 points is too much. I think Iowa's a good team. I think they play good defense. Is McNamara still? Is he healthy for Iowa at quarterback? If he is, I do expect him to cover.
Yeah, I take Iowa.
All right, let's go back to the SEC. How about Kentucky Vandy? Kentucky's
I have not been impressed with Kentucky yet. Vandy's Vandy, and Vandy's at home. And Vandy plays tough. I don't know why, but they play tough, so I'll take Vandy. Give me the points.
I'm going to take Kentucky. I think Vanderbilt is bad, period. Who'd they lose to the other day?
UNLV, 40-37. On the road.
Over-under is 50, by the way. I'm going under.
Under. Yeah, under.
Memphis at Mizzou. Mizzou -6. We don't know if the quarterback from Mizzou's playing this week yet. 51.5 over-under. I like Mizzou in this matchup if they're healthy. That's what I would go with.
I go with Mizzou too. I watched Memphis play against I think it was Navy and lost that game. So yeah, give me Memphis or give me Missouri.
Here's an interesting matchup: Mississippi State and South Carolina. South Carolina -6 at home, 48.5 over under. What do you think?
If anything, I take the under. I
Yeah,
watched both these teams play, and I wasn't impressed. South Carolina impressed me a little bit more than Mississippi State, especially in the first half. Second half, they couldn't do anything. It looked like South Carolina I thought they'd be.
I think South Carolina wins this game and covers. I just honestly, I was so disappointed in watching Mississippi State last week. I say disappointed, kind of what I expected, right? You lose to Pirate, and that offense showed it's just a disaster. It's an absolute freaking disaster. The quarterback Rogers, who's been great for the last 3 years, looked lost. And for that reason, I'd say South Carolina. Texas at Baylor. Texas -15.
Let's see here. Baylor's looked awful this year, haven't they?
Yeah.
How are they that bad? I mean, how are they that bad? I mean, you almost have to take Texas if you take a side in this game. I just don't get it.
If I'm betting that game, I'm betting Texas all day. Not even a question.
I don't get it.
Here's a game I like. Duke at UConn, the former Aggie defensive coordinator, a guy we'd love to see back in BCS. Duke at UConn. Duke's -21.5.
I mean, that's a lot of points for me going on the road. I mean, does Duke care about this game?
They care enough that they're going to win by 21.5. How about that?
So how many points is Duke scoring?
32.
What's the final score? 32-10?
32-7.
Okay, so you're taking the under in Duke? Okay. I was thinking, I don't know. That game, I like Duke I think Duke's going to win it, but I don't know.
How about UTSA at Tennessee? Look, UTSA came into the season with so much freaking hype, dude. Those guys, everybody thought that was going to be the.
I was on the wagon too. I was on there.
You read those magazines? They told you they had the best quarterback in the entire state of Texas. Yeah. They had the best running back in the entire state of Texas, best wide receiver in the entire state of Texas. You read those magazines? They told you UTSA was going to be good.
Yep, they suck.
Are they going to be good enough to get within 21.5 points of Tennessee?
Probably Tennessee. I mean, what have they shown you? Has Tennessee shown you anything?
No, they've been bad.
They've been bad. I mean, I'd probably take UTSA in the points. I'm not even sure who's quarterback for UTSA this week. If that kid, what's his name's back, then yeah. But they were missing like all their players against Army, and they lost.
They've had a lot of injuries. If they're getting healthy, man, it'd be a good time to show up at Tennessee and go give Tennessee a game. Joe Milton's
take the under in that game too.
Joe Milton's just been an absolute disappointment.
Yeah, I take the under in that game. 59.5. Give me the under.
How about your Tar Heels? Your Tar Heels at Pitt. Your Tar Heels are a 7.5 point favorite.
Pitt just lost to West Virginia, dude. I think West Virginia is one of the worst Power 5 teams in the nation, and they lost to them 17-6. They made West Virginia look like a top 25 team. Give me Carolina.
I'm going to make this one of my premier bets this week. Carolina.
There you go.
USC at Arizona State. USC -34.5. Do they cover?
I don't know about the 34.5, but I'll take the over because USC, they might score 63 by themselves.
Yeah. Here's the team I like. Cal Washington. I think Cal, like you said earlier, is one of the worst teams in the Pac-12. Washington's -20.5. I still think they cover.
You like Cal to cover?
I know. I still think Washington.
Oh, you think Washington's going to cover the 20.5?
Yeah.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, I like Washington too.
Crosstown rivalry. SMU TCU.
Oh, I'm taking SMU.
Soon to be a Big 12 matchup, by the way. -7 TCU.
Give me SMU.
Really? Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wait. Did you say about to be a Big 12 matchup?
Yeah.
I thought SMU was going to the ACC.
SMU is going to the ACC. Is that right?
I don't even know. Yeah, I don't know who I'm talking to sometimes.
You're right. No, you're right.
No, but
I remember.
Y'all hear that, people?
No, you're absolutely right. It's on tape. I can't take it back.
There you go.
2 more games. BYU Kansas.
Wait. Who'd you take, SMU or TCU?
I'm taking TCU.
I'm taking SMU. Plus the
BYU
7.
Kansas. BYU at Kansas. 2 undefeated teams in the Big 12. BYU Kansas. Kansas
BYU at Kansas.
at Kansas minus 9.5 for Kansas. That's a lot of respect for Kansas.
Give me Kansas. I like them. I watched them play. Their offense is for real. So shizzle.
BYU. How about the over 55? Over.
Yeah.
Texas Tech, West Virginia, man. At West Virginia, your pops' place. West Virginia is +6.
Yeah.
And then 55 over under. What do you think?
Oh, give me Texas Tech all day. I just said that West Virginia is one of the worst Power 5 teams. I think my dad said something about their quarterback being out. So, yeah, give me Tech.
I'm going to agree with you. We're going to leave it at that. Questions from the tailgate. Let's get this thing wrapped up. SEC opener. What is the significance of this game?
It's everything. If we lay an egg, if we actually lose this game, we said it earlier, get rid of him. Let's get rid of him, get rid of Durkin. Let Petrino finish the season as the head coach if you have to, you know? Figure out, I mean, we can figure something with cause to get rid of him. I'm pretty sure the way he's coached is with cause. That's what I do.
Show enough. I agree with you, man. I think that the significance of this game is huge. If this is a game that sits in there and it's back and forth and it's tight and this team struggles against Auburn, it tells you everything you need to know about where this coaching staff is and what they've done with the incredible amount of talent at their disposal. I think if they come out and win this easily, then it also tells you something that, you know, it's that there's a chance, right? There's a chance to compete in the West. To compete in the West. It doesn't tell you that you're going to win the West. It tells you have a chance to compete. Huge significance for this game. Connor, right now, top 15 in the country in yards, top 25 in passer rating, tied for 14th with touchdowns, top 25 completion percentage. Does he have a chance to make a run at the Heisman?
Very, very long shot. Very long shot. He's going to have to keep putting up those numbers, and they're going to have to win these games. The Heisman players don't come from losing teams. So you need those Heisman moments. You need to beat teams like Auburn and beat them bad. I'm talking, you know, beat them 41-20. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking like that's the kind of stuff you got to do. And then next week, you got to do the same thing. You got to keep doing it over and over. It's not just 1 week. I mean, he didn't have a bad game against Miami, but we lost. So nobody's really talking about him. And you don't talk about him when he plays ULM and
Nobody cares.
New Mexico. Yeah.
Listen, the first thing he said right there, to me, that's it. They need to win. They need to win. And the second thing that they're going to need, they need that last game against LSU to be a SEC West championship game in which he comes out and absolutely dominates their quarterback, right? And that team across the field. And if he can do those things and they can win, he can get in the running. Doesn't mean he's going to win it, but he can get in the running. That's what it would take. Wins.
Right.
Corey. It's a good one, man. It's a good one.
There you go, buddy.
Yiga Aggies.
I'm going to go watch some football.
C-Money AP signing out.
All right, buddy. Bye.